hello there. It's not very often I find you in my pantry, but I guess it's not very often that you find me inside. But I'm actually just about to start making some beer. And hey, why not come along for the ride? Now, I do have a disclaimer. I have never made beer before, and I have never brewed anything before. So, this is gonna be a bit new for me, and you're just gonna have to come along for the ride. Let's crack on with it. The ingredients that I'll be using, some of it you can find at home, and some of it you have to go to your local homebrew shop. A little hint is, pop in to your local homebrew shop because they have a world of knowledge and they will help you out with whatever you need, so keep that little tip. What I've got to start with is a homebrew kit. It just has one jar and this has got all of the malt in it. I'll go through that shortly. Some yeast. Normally this comes in your homebrew kit, but I just got it out to show you. Some dextrose. This is just a type of sugar, and sugar is important in the fermenting process. So dextrose is important for making beer, but it would still work using normal sugar as well. But this will probably just do a better job for beer. But before we start making it, we need some sterilizer. Now this is really important as this will stop any wild yeasts from interrupting or changing the brewing process in the beer. So this cancels any kind of wild yeasts out. So this needs to be used on the mixing spoon and the barrel that we're going to use, and anything that will come in contact with the brewing process of the beer needs to be sterilized. This is just a stock standard barrel you can find at the brewing shop. First, I am going to make it a barrel of cleanliness. So all I'm doing is adding 50 grams of this sterilizer to 4.5 liters of water. Anything I want clean, I just chuck in this barrel. So if I want my stirring spoon clean, I chuck it in the barrel. And if I want my airlock thingy to be clean, chuck it in here. And you just give everything a really good clean. Now that everything is sanitized and all clean, let's get into making the beer. So with this one in particular, you're just stripping off the head. Woo-hoo-hoo. Lid comes off and there's the yeast we're going to be using. A little coaster comes with a coaster, no. Oh, here we go. Comes with some instructions. Fabulous, we're going to follow these because I've never done it before. I came across a hack because the malt in here is really thick and so it's hard to actually get all of the content out. So putting it in a pot of boiling water without burning yourself for just a couple of minutes will liquefy it a lot more and make it super runny, making it really easy to pour all of the content out into our brewing container when we have to. This is ready to open now, so let's just get it out of the pot. Let's see if we can open this thing. That was slightly dramatic. It was really messy trying to open this thing, and just don't judge me. Let's pop it into the brewing kit and keep going. What you can do is pop some hot water in here and then tip it into the brewing kit just to make sure you've got it all. My goodness, please don't judge it. It's hectic. Right, so now what we need to do is put 4 litres of hot tap water in here and mix it around and make sure the syrup is completely dissolved. Now that we have added the hot water to the syrup and that's completely dissolved, we're going to now add the dextrose in and stir that until it's completely dissolved. So from there we're going to add cold tap water until it gets to the 20 litre mark, mixing in, making sure it's all dissolved, and then we're going to check the temperature. What we're looking for is a temperature of between 21 and 27 degrees, as that's the optimal amount before adding the yeast to activate the yeast and start the process. What I've got here, it's just a really cheap little thermometer on the side, but you can use any thermometer. Stick it in the water and see what it is. If it's too hot, then add another 3 litres of cold water. If it's sitting about right, do a bit of a mix of hot and cold, and if it is too cold, add some more hot water. But by the end, you want 23 litres in total. So here I'm sitting on about 24 degrees. So I'll probably add another bit of cold water, maybe a little bit of hot, just to keep it kind of at that temperature, because this is really good temperature. Great. So now what I'm seeing is it's kind of 26, 24 degrees, so it's between the 21 and 27 degree mark, so we're at a pretty optimal level. Not everyone does this, but I would like to know how much alcohol is going to be in this beer by the time it finishes. So before adding the yeast, what you use, this is called a hydrometer, and what you do is take a sample of the beer mixture and then pop it in here, and then however much it floats by, you take that reading, and then at the end of the fermentation process, you take another reading, and with a little calculation, you can figure out roughly what the alcohol content is. It's sitting at about the 91, kind of like 100 mark. So we can see that the temperature here is in the optimal range. So now is when we add the yeast, and instead of just plonking it in, kind of covering the surface, so then the yeast isn't forming one ball but kind of spread out amongst the mixture. And then we'll just give it a quick stir, and then we're going to pop the cap on. You're not meant to add the yeast packet. It actually smells pretty good. I'm not actually a beer drinker myself, but it smells pretty good. The last part is really easy. All we're doing is popping the cap on and then using this airlock to make it all sealed and really tight. So nice and tight, so we're not getting any air in there. And then what I've done is just filled the airlock halfway, and then we're going to hopefully start seeing it bubble. That means we've actually got something, some kind of reaction going on in fermentation. So let's pop it on and see if it starts bubbling. And that's it. So now what we're going to do is just put it in a place where it stays warm. So inside, it needs to kind of stay at the 25 degree mark. So I know our fireplace is going constantly, it's winter here. and so it's going to stay pretty warm temperature in here, and all I'm going to do is just pop it in a cupboard so it's nice and dark, and then we're going to come back to it in a little while and see how it's going. Now, it might be a bit weird to be brewing beer when I don't actually like drinking beer, but I know some people who do like drinking beer, and I thought that was a perfect place to start with the brewing process. But while I wait for the fermentation process for the beer to finish, I thought, hey, why don't I do the same thing but with some cider? So today I am using this apple cider mix, and it should have all the flavorings and everything. Very, very similar to how I brewed the beer. We're just gonna add this into the bucket, add water, and do exactly the same, but I'll walk you through it, and you can see how my cider making goes and whether it's better than my beer making. So the beer is going to take about 4 to 6 days depending on the temperature that it brews at. So being a warm place in here, I reckon it might be about 4 to 5 days. If it's a cooler environment, it'll just take longer to brew, and that's also fine. The cider that I've just made, that's 6 to 10 days. So the cider will take a little bit longer before bottling, but again, the same principle. If it's in a warmer environment, it'll speed up the process compared to if it's in a cold environment, in which case that'll be a slower process. So yeah, when they start bubbling, I will certainly show you, because that means the fermentation process has started. The cider has been bubbling away, and I just took a reading, and it is in that green zone, which means the cider is ready. The beer still has quite a while to go. So I've just been prepping some bottles to put the cider in. We need to put some more sugar in each bottle to create the second fermentation. In the larger bottles, I will be putting 1 heaped teaspoon in here and just half a teaspoon in the smaller bottles. I found that using a funnel in the bottles makes it a whole lot easier to get all of the sugar into each of the bottles instead of carefully trying to get it all in. It honestly smells so good. You can't see it in here, but there is a thick sediment at the bottom, so we don't want to put any of that in any of the bottles. So what we need to do, we're going to use the tap. I'm going to try use the tap, see how clear it is. Hopefully it's higher than the sediment is. And then we're just going to drain it out, but leaving the sediment at the bottom, because that's all the dead yeast and all of the stuff that we don't want in the bottles. That is a lot of cider. As you can see, what's left is like this, all that sediment I was talking about, so you don't want any of that in the bottles, and so you leave a little bit of liquid in there. Welcome back. It has been about 3 months since I last picked up the camera and filmed for you guys, and the main reason for that length of time is 3 months just means the flavors can really develop, and that's as best it's going to get. And also the sediment in the bottle will be able to really settle, so hopefully we get a super clear liquid inside. I'm really excited to test them, but we're gonna have to go outside because I don't know how much carbon dioxide is built up to make it fizzy, so it might explode, maybe it won't. Let's see what happens. All right, I think we might open the beer first. We're not actually Milwaukee Patriots, we just happen to have one, just in case you're wondering. Okay, it didn't explode. You can see there's a little bit of action happening. Let's pop some in a glass. Instantly I can smell it, but it smells really nice. It's got a nice little bit of head. I think it'd be cooler if it had a little bit more. It smells like beer. That's probably a good sign. But just appreciate the clarity. Wow. Definitely tastes like beer. I think I'd need a beer expert to try this one. I think I'm more for the cider. Let's try that one. Again, looks like I haven't over fizzed it, so that's really exciting. Again, wow, look at that just beautiful golden color. Incredibly clear. That's insane. Oh, that smells much more like a cider. It's on the drier side, but I do prefer drier ciders. If you prefer sweeter ciders, you can actually get a sweetener to put into the mix, just in the first process, and it would lift the sweetness. I can't get over the clearness, the clarity. That's insane. Well, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you want to see more of my adventures, they're normally outside, not so much inside doing stuff, but I wanted to try another hobby. But yeah, if you want to stay tuned with whatever I do get up to, you know exactly what to do. Alright, see you next time. Cheers. Don't mind the chicken noises. They're very friendly. You might be wondering why I chose to start with a kit, and honestly, I was too intimidated to start with anything else, actually. So yeah, if anyone's kind of keen to try, a kit is a really great, easy way to start. And from there, you can start adding different hopses to the beer, different flavors. There's so many different experimental parts of it that you can try out. But just starting with the kit gives you the basis, the foundations to then grow on top of it, which I found really, really fun going forward. Like I've got several different beers, several different ciders now, and I'm doing a ginger beer. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And I mean, you know, if nothing else, it means that we've got beverages to take to our friends' parties. Yeah. What a stunning day. Absolutely. These chickens love me. Alrighty, signing off for now. See you guys.